I've always been certain of who I am, or at least I thought I was. Girls, football, nights out. That was me. Simple, uncomplicated. And then there was Eli. We met in freshman year. He was loud where I was quiet, sharp-witted and unapologetically himself. We clashed instantly, then clicked just as fast. Eli had a way of making people feel like the center of the universe. He noticed things. Small, invisible things no one else did. That's what pulled me in. That's why I stayed. When he came out to me during sophomore year, I remember nodding, not flinching. It didn't change anything. He was still Eli, my best friend, my roommate, my partner in every dumb thing we ever did. I told him it didn't matter, and I believed that, because I was straight. At least, I was sure of it. But now, looking back, I can't ignore the signs I didn't want to see. The way I started waiting up just to talk to him after dates. The heat that crept into my chest when someone else made him laugh too long. The late nights where our knees touched on the couch, and I didn't move away. I told myself it was nothing. Guys could be close. Guys could care. Then came his birthday. We got drunk, really drunk. The kind of drunk where the truth leaks out, even if you're not ready to hear it. We stumbled into the apartment at 2 a.m., arms slung around each other, laughing at nothing. He collapsed on the couch, head tipped back, eyes soft with alcohol, and whatever else we weren't saying. I sat beside him, said something stupid like, "Don't ever leave, man." He looked at me for a long time, searching, like he was waiting for permission. Then I kissed him. No hesitation. No warning. And the worst part? It felt right. He didn't pull away. He leaned in. For a moment, time folded in on itself. The room spun, but our hands were steady. I remember the taste of beer on his lips, the way he exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for years. And then it was over. He blinked, sat back, and said nothing. I nodded like I understood, even though I didn't. I stood up, walked to my room, and closed the door behind me. The next morning, we pretended nothing happened. But I couldn't. My thoughts were louder than ever, drowning out everything else. What did I do? What did I feel? And why did it feel like the truth I had been running from my entire life had finally caught up? I was straight. I am straight. But I kissed my gay best friend, and I liked it. I avoided Eli like a coward. The morning after the kiss, I left before he woke up. Said I had work, said I'd be late. I told lie after lie with such ease it scared me. It was easier to bury the memory than confront the reality. Easier to pretend I hadn't felt something I wasn't supposed to feel. He didn't push. He gave me space, but space was the last thing I needed. Every time I walked into the apartment, I felt the weight of what we weren't talking about. His footsteps behind the door, the rustle of him moving on the couch, the silence thick and pulsing with the memory of what happened. He never brought it up. Neither did I, so I did the next worst thing. I started seeing someone. Jenna. She was sweet, uncomplicated, and nothing like Eli. That's why I picked her. I met her at a friend's party, and when she laughed at my jokes, I leaned in too quickly, too eagerly. I wasn't looking for connection. I was looking for distraction. Something to rewrite the story in my head. I posted a photo with her a week later. Eli saw it. I knew he did. His like came an hour after the upload. No comment, no message. Just digital silence. And then something shifted. He stopped waiting for me to come home. He stopped leaving notes on the fridge. His bedroom door stayed shut even on weekends. And when we did cross paths, his smile was polite, sharp around the edges, like a blade wrapped in paper. I told myself it was fine, that I was doing the right thing, that everything was returning to normal. But it wasn't. Because Jenna wasn't. Him. When she kissed me, I felt nothing. When she held my hand, I kept thinking about how Eli's fingers had brushed mine that night on the couch. I compared everything, her laugh, her warmth, her presence, to him. And she kept losing. I betrayed him, not with the kiss, but with what came after. I chose fear. He never said it, but I saw it in his eyes the last time we spoke. Really spoke. He looked at me like he didn't recognize the person I'd become. And maybe I didn't either. I was running from something real and hiding behind something safe. One evening, I came home to find the apartment empty. No music, no scent of his cologne, just a folded piece of paper on the coffee table. I'm staying at Matt's for a bit, don't worry, just need space. He didn't sign it, didn't have to. That night, I lay awake in Jenna's arms, eyes on the ceiling, heart in freefall. I had everything I was supposed to want. So why did it feel like I was losing the only thing that ever mattered? 2 weeks passed with barely a word between us. Eli stayed at Matt's. I stayed inside my head. The apartment felt colder without him, even though the heat was always on. Jenna noticed my distance. She asked if something was wrong, but I couldn't tell her the truth. I barely understood it myself. Then, one night, I came home to find him there. He sat on the couch, hoodie pulled over his head, fingers interlocked as if he were holding something fragile together. The TV was on, muted, playing a sitcom we used to laugh at during midnight reruns. I froze in the doorway, keys clenched in my fist. I needed to grab a few things, he said, eyes still on the screen. But we should probably talk. I nodded slowly, knowing this moment was inevitable. I dropped my bag, kicked off my shoes, and sat across from him. The air between us pulsed, dense with memory, regret, and everything unsaid. "You kissed me," he began, voice quiet but steady. I didn't imagine it. "No," I admitted, "you didn't." "Then why did you act like it never happened?" I wanted to answer. Truly, I did. But the words felt like thorns in my throat. "Because I panicked," I said. "Because I wasn't ready to know what it meant." He turned toward me finally, eyes shining with something more than anger, hurt, deep, hollow hurt. "Do you even know what it meant to me?" "I do now," I said. "I just didn't want to face it then." He stood and paced the room, rubbing his palms together like he could erase the memory from his skin. "You could have said anything. That it was a mistake. That it confused you. I would have understood. But instead, you started dating someone else." "I thought it would help," I muttered. He laughed, sharp and bitter. "Help who? You? Or the version of you the world expects?" That hit hard. I stood too, needing to close the space between us. I was scared, Eli. Not of you, of me, of what it meant to want something I wasn't supposed to want. "Then be honest about it," he said, voice cracking. "Because hiding behind someone else isn't love. It's running." I stared. At him, chest tight, thoughts spiraling. "I didn't mean to hurt you," I said. "I didn't know I could." He looked away, blinking hard. "You did, and you still are." The silence between us wasn't empty. It was full of all the possibilities we'd let slip through our fingers. I reached out, but he stepped back. "Don't," he whispered. "Not unless you're sure." And I wasn't. Not yet. Days passed. Eli didn't come back. His absence wasn't loud. It was quieter than grief, but heavier than guilt. I'd sit on the couch where we used to binge movies, pretending the space beside me didn't feel like a wound. Jenna and I fizzled out quietly. No drama, no fight. Just two people realizing one of them had been emotionally somewhere else all along. I finally understood that I hadn't just kissed Eli that night. I'd cracked something open inside myself that couldn't be closed again. I wasn't confused anymore. I was in love with my best friend, and I broke him. One Thursday afternoon, I left work early. I stood outside Matt's building for 15 minutes before I found the nerve to buzz the door. Eli opened it. He didn't look surprised. "Hey," I said. "Hey," he replied, guarded. "Can we talk?" He hesitated, then stepped aside. We sat in silence for a while. Him perched on the edge of the armchair, me gripping the edge of the sofa like it might float away if I let go. "I ended things with Jenna," I said finally. "I figured. I wasn't honest, with her, with myself, with you." He folded his arms, eyes on the floor. "So why now?" "Because I don't want to keep running. Not from this, not from you." He looked up, something unreadable flickering in his gaze. "I'm still figuring it out," I continued. "Who I am, what this means. But the one thing I know, without a doubt, is that it's you. It's always been you." He didn't move, didn't speak, just stared at me, breathing slow, like he was afraid to believe me. "I hurt you," I said, voice low. "And I can't take that back. But if there's a part of you that still believes in us, I'm here. No more pretending." He stood, walked to the window, stared out at the street below. His hands were trembling. When he turned back, his eyes were wet. "You don't get to play with this," he said, voice shaking. "Not with me." "I'm not playing. I'm scared as hell, Eli, but I'm done hiding." He exhaled, deep, shaky, real. Then slowly, he walked back to me, sat beside me, not touching, just there. "I'm not saying I forgive you," he said. "Not yet." "I don't expect you to," I replied. "But I've missed you," he added quietly, "more than I wanted to." We sat in the silence that followed, full of pain and hope and something new rising in between. Then he reached out. Not a kiss, not a grand gesture, just his hand resting on mine. And in that moment, I knew the road ahead would be messy, complicated, maybe even broken in places, but it would be real. It would be ours.